Okay, so we should be live. So I always like to start these kinds of calls with intentions, distractions, just to like make sure that we have the space and time to do everything we need to do. Uh, so like, for instance, I'm distracted because I kind of want more coffee. And it's a little early, but and I do have a hard stop in 45 minutes. Actually, probably more like 35 minutes because I could really use a little space between the calls to prepare for the next one. And my intentions are really just probably to share screen, like, and go through a lot of the data, or maybe like you share screen and you go through a lot of the data and just give you the, I basically led the charge of creating this data set and managing it. So I'm sure that there's all sorts of stupid things that I did that you would never understand unless I told you. So yeah, I just want to help make it easy for you to get all the data out. What about you?
Thank you. Yeah. I have until 12. I have an hour and 15 minutes, so we'll stop when you're ready. I don't really have any distractions. So.
Well, and what's your intent? Like, what do you want to make sure we get out of this call?
Oh, I see. I understand. I want to get the data into a format that I understand better, where I can use it for the type of analysis I usually do, which just means things like one of the things we noticed was the dates were inconsistent. Some were US and some were European. So we worked on making sure they were the same. And then the big issue right now is these usernames. Like, a person might have 5 different representations, and I want to be sure that I consolidate them. The other thing I hope to do, and it may be beyond the scope of this call, but is to put together, if you don't already have one, a coding book or data dictionary, so that if somebody else wants to jump in and analyze the data set, they know what all the variables mean, and they don't have to recreate this effort.
Cool. Okay. That's sweet. That's amazing. Well, let's start with the usernames, because that seems like a burning thing. And honestly, yeah, maybe, do you want to share screen, or do you want me to?
If you would, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I would love to.
If you're able to.
I have the power. Let's see. So this is a labor of love that I do every round, where people, we have this do not touch imported tab here. And what is with this? Get out of here. And in it doesn't have any titles or anything, but it comes from, oh yeah, I guess it does. Oh, that's nice. So this is like the actual handle, right? This is the handle that we use. That's like the important handle, the handle that is our default handle. But for instance, Gabby has this Discord handle and this Telegram handle. And then
So
the handle, yeah.
This is the one you would want it converted to if we were standardizing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Wow, how did you do that?
Under view, so I've taught, I'm a professor, so I've taught with Zoom for the last year. Under, for me as a viewer, if you go view options, there's an annotate thing, and you get a full paint markup stuff. So
holy crap! You just blew my mind.
Oh, good.
Oh, whoa! You're just,
you can do,
wow.
This is kind of slick too. You can do transparent as well as, that's a cool thing. So I'm glad I could show you something as well.
Oh, are you kidding? You're just, this is crazy, man. Whoa. Okay. We have limited time, but thank you so much. This is wild.
No problem.
Wow. Yeah, you just changed my world.
Cool. But anyway, we should be targeting to get to this.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's already there. So like,
Mhm.
if you look at these, so the results you'll notice are a mix of Discord handles and Telegram handles. But like I showed off this one earlier, right? This Discord handle, when we originally did it, we didn't know that Dan Digitally was also DDan. Where is he? And so then I even made a note for this one. Mihire was combined with Mihai CB, right? So there are some corrections in here where we do like, regular audits once in a while. But then we also do in here, you can see this first column is not the cell's name, the original cell's names. The original cell was this right here.
Okay.
In column P. And so we're doing this aggregation already. So like Santi's default like canonical name is sgonzt. And so like originally this praise was dished in Discord, but now we have his Telegram handle here. So we do that for the to column. We do not do that for the from column.
Okay. Well, so that I'm going to go through and do the from column because I want to make a graph, like a network of arrows, who praised whom, and then weight the edges. So I need a consistent. But it's easy to do now that I know what it should go to. It's just a dictionary. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, exactly. And just be aware that there's sometimes the same person will have multiple lines. Like look at this one. Okay. It's not the cleanest of data. We went with redundancy as a solution, so that the lookups are always the same. And some people have like so many names, and and also some of these will have like there's other columns here. There's GitHub and Telegram. There's GitHub and Twitter, and so that's why it's like, well, why do you have this duplicate? It's because there's also GitHub and Twitter, and maybe they have two Twitters, like Castal here, he runs the Bright ID Twitter, but he also has his personal Twitter.
I got you.
And so we use this data set for other things. That's why it looks really weird, but I trimmed it to what was necessary for this sheet. The sheet that it's pulling from is not a public sheet because people's information is a little bit weird. Like, do I really want to make it more information public than I need? Like, do people need to know their Twitter? I'm just like, yeah. Okay, so that's the names. Is there anything else on names that you think would be useful?
Yeah. Well, I have the data frame that Sean YGG Anderson produced as a result of his stuff. Would it be all right if I shared now to show you what I'm looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let me, I never did give you the power. Let me see. I am not a Zoom rock star, so I have to think about how to do this. Oh, you have the power. Thank God.
Cool. So Sean had already done some stuff, and then I came in and tried to kind of use the data he had put together. So this is what I see from his data frame. And I was working on this one. So some of the variables do not have proper names when they get imported. So I'm guessing that is the server.
Let me check. Let's see. So actually, that one is just empty because for Discord, it is the server. And for Telegram, it just says praise.
Okay.
So this column is actually empty because depending on where the data came from, it's two different things. But yeah, it's
Do you think
usually,
that's worth? Do you think that's worth analyzing, or could I just drop these columns?
um, I wouldn't, it depends on, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, I feel like this, it's kind of weird. There seems to be this framing of like, oh yeah, let's just analyze the data to see what we find. I don't know how useful that is. I kind of expected there to be like specific hypotheses, and then those hypotheses get tested. Is that not the way it goes?
Well, when you have a data set so typically when you're testing a hypothesis, you collect the data originally towards that hypothesis.
Mm.
And since that wasn't done here, we do what's called exploratory data analysis, where you just kind of start sifting through it to see what might be. So if you have a specific question, you could test it, but it's also possible that there's interesting things there that you wouldn't think to ask.
Ah, cool.
Like, probably the community knew this, but 80% of users have given no praise.
Yeah.
So you have a really hard Pareto distribution where very few people are giving lots of praise. And so that's just something I noticed, but
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, so then I wouldn't drop it. Like the room channel could have value, the server could have value, right? Like how much praise is being dished in the Token Engineering Commons channel, how much is in the Token Engineering Discord. There was a migration, right?
so
From the Token
so I
Engineering.
did that much.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was.
But that's probably, so praise is in any Telegram channel.
Okay,
Oh,
so these might need to be combined. Oh wait, sorry.
no, so
So that
these
that
are more detailed rooms.
okay, I see.
So like there might be you kind of need both of those. So like the first, for Discord, you need both,
Okay.
because there'll be the Discord server and it'll be the praise room, the like, emoji praise. Yeah, praise is like, so there's two columns. There's the unnamed 3 column, right? And in the unnamed 3 column, praise means it was dished in Telegram. And then the other things are the Discord server. So you could almost say like server, right? Where praise
Okay.
is Telegram.
And then I might rename praise to Telegram so it's
Yeah.
clearer.
Definitely.
Okay.
And then the room, if it's a Telegram room, then like, if it's praise in that first column, then it's a Telegram room. If it's not, then it's a room in that Discord server. And some Discord servers have the same name, right? So like emoji praise is in a lot of Discord servers.
Okay.
So there might be some, you might need to pull that apart a little.
I see. Yeah, I can think about how to do that, but that's really, really helpful. Then I don't know what any of the remaining variables mean. V1, yeah.
Okay, so V1 norm. Okay, that's interesting. So I don't know. I think he meant to normalize these, but basically the way it goes, and maybe I'll share screen. Maybe, can we both share screens at the same time?
We can, but I can stop.
Here, I'll just steal it from you. It's cool.
Oh.
Did it work? We're freaking out. So when we're doing this experience, right, and we come in and we put on some music and we hang out and we just chat, and these columns are all empty, right? So you see Metaverde, Juan, and Edu. That means this is the column that Metaverde is filling out. This is the one that Juan is filling out. This is the one that Edu is filling out. And we are based, yeah.
So these are like sort of like judges in a, like, it's not exact metaphor, but like judges in a gymnastics competition or something where you have people assigning numerical scores, like a committee of people assigning numerical scores.
Yep, I think it's actually a perfect analogy. We are, we are like those judges. We are taking a qualitative thing. Well, a lot of times it's qualitative, sometimes it's not, right? But dish praise for being our praise queen, like, okay, she's our praise queen. That's worth a lot, dude. Ivy writes down everybody's praise in these videos. She dishes half the praise. How much is that worth? And then Metaverde gives it a score, Juan gives it a score, Edu gives it a score. And you will see very, very, very here's Letty dishing it to Ivy for hacking with Ivy for catching up on the praise channel. Okay, so she gets 20,000, right? For that one. But 1,000 for this one. But for Juan, he actually gave twice as much for this one than that one. And Metaverde gave 20 times as much, right? What the hell?
Right? Yeah.
And then Edu gave 60% more for this one. And it's kind of it is exactly like those judges. And then all of these scores get normalized through a pretty simple basic equation, just like the total points given divided by this. So you get a percentage for each one of these. And then you add the percentage up, divide by 3, and get a normalized score.
Okay, I understand. So V1, V2, and V3 are the voters, like the voter numbers.
Yeah. And this is a like unnormalized score. And then they all get normalized here in this average. And then this is the average of their three percentages, basically.
Okay.
And then IH per praise. This is like how many impact hours they get for this one praise. So Ivy got 3.96 impact hours for this work, and 2.7 impact hours for this praise. So you can actually map like every single impact hour is mapped to something. But yeah, okay. So okay, you had a question?
Yeah, is that assigned as do you plug average praise into some formula to get that, or how is that number?
So we vote up here on how many impact hours we should, these 3 judges, you could say, or voters, they choose how many impact hours we actually give away that round.
Okay.
So in this case, they said 1,200 hours are going to be given for this work. And they kind of use like, was this round, it's a 2-week round, was this round, how did it compare to last round, in the last few rounds? Like, was there a lot that got done in the TEC? And they also look at like the top people, and they'll be like, well, someone should get around like 70 to 80 hours. Like someone's doing a full 2 weeks of impact, that's kind of like another metric that is used. So yeah. And then
I see. So that's like that's again assigning a score somewhat subjectively, but based on experience and expertise.
Yeah, and relative, like relative to the past.
Okay.
Right. And like, it's like, hey, a lot of and relative to like how many impact hours should one person get? If they made it 10,000 and one person was getting 100 and like 300 impact hours, they're like, well, that's too much for one person to get.
Okay.
Like But then, so then things get wild. Whoa, there's something wrong with this data set. Why does Ivy have negative here? Something's happening here. That's really weird because Ivy should have had. Let's see if there's a filter going on here. It's really odd that there's a negative right here. That doesn't make any sense. Is this one not being calculated or something? Because usually that's a distributed sum. So that equals 47. That equals 23. And this should be. You see what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, I see how there's a negative number.
So this cell is just a distributed sum of like the impact hours. Oh, interesting. Well, no, it should be A3. D sum that A3, A58, A3. Huh. I wonder what is wrong with this. Because like it's supposed to be adding up this column for Ivy. We have it filtered by person. It was working before, obviously. And like when I add up this for Ivy, this comes to 23. But for some reason,
it's negative.
Yeah. It's like it's missing half of them, or half of the points at least.
Well, it says down there that she only gets 50%.
Yes. So okay. So let's get through the process, and I'll get to that in a second. But maybe we'll use someone else besides Ivy. Let's use. Oh, here we go. Because this is here twice.
Oh, okay.
This is accidentally here twice, maybe. Yeah, I see what happened. So this was supposed to be for Suga. And this is just a bad error set. Okay, so let me make a note really quick. So I also have another fix. Okay, so let's just go to someone who's not broken. How about, there's a lot of people broken right now. It's really weird. Why is he? Because it wasn't this way. I think a lot of people have been messing with this data. And it looks like a lot of people are getting quantified twice. But anyway, so we'll go through, and this is supposed to sum up all of this. And it's just kind of like repeated over and over again, mostly so that what we can sort here. This is a really crazy equation that basically counts how many dishes they received, or like what number of dishes they are. But then what's cool is we can sort here by one, and then we just get like one line for each person. And so we'll look at that and we'll be like, oh, one line for each person. Okay, well, should Ivy get that much? You know, like we do some sense making. And we're like, oh, you know, like that doesn't make any sense. This person must have been way underpraised, or this person was way overpraised. And so this is where shit gets bad. And we're not gonna do this for the next round. we're going to fix it after to make it easier to analyze the data. But we'll actually go through and like with that Ivy praise where she got here, we'll actually go through and be like, if Metaverde was like, you know what, Ivy just didn't get enough. I'm just going to go pump one of these. And sometimes she pumps a random one like this one. Maybe she didn't actually read this and put in 2000. Maybe she read it, put in one number, and then was like, oh, Ivy's not getting enough. I'm just going to pick a random one and give it a couple more zeros, you know?
So I see that's a hack to fix. You think the formula doesn't work, so you hack one of the numbers to bring the final number closer into alignment. Is that right?
Exactly. And it's not that the formula didn't work. It's that, you know, there may be some weird thing like, oh, this person just didn't get enough praise and they did a lot of work during this round. You know?
So you think the measurement was wrong, not that the formula didn't work, but the measurement, like,
yeah,
wasn't recorded.
It's you know, this is the great thing about qualitative measurement. It's hard to say what the cause is, but you can look at the result and say, well, that's not right. And there could be many causes. It could be that they were doing lots of they did amazing things and they weren't praised for it. It could have been they were praised for a bunch of things that didn't really matter, right? Or it could be that they did some work and then and they got praise, and who knows, maybe these three people just don't like that person, so they wanted to lower it, you know? I mean, obviously that's more of a joke, but it is the subjective thing. So it's like, it's more about this comparing people during the last round and being like, well, I know Santi is starting this other project up. There's no way that he did as much work as it says here. He shouldn't get more than this person, right? And so we do that sense making. And then when we're done with that sense making, we go through and we look at the people who are paid. And if someone gets, and each person kind of has, that gets paid has a unique deal. So Ivy gets paid less than most people. So she gets 50% of her impact hour rate. And you can see here, it's twice. That's a problem. Someone's been messing with this sheet.
Promise it wasn't me.
It's okay. I mean, I don't care who it is. It's just, I'll just fix it. So here's some gets paid from the common swarm. So so he gets 15% of his, what is with that? Of his IH. But then sometimes, like, I feel like Jeff got down here and we'll make corrections like this, where it's like, he gets paid by the common stack. So the deal is he only gets 15%, but because his praise was so low, we decided to give 50% this time, right? And then you can see, okay, so he had 12.5, we multiply by 5, we put a negative score in the IH per praise, and then it just gets summed into his impact hours per person.
Okay. So you are expecting to see some negative IH per praise. You're just not expecting to see negative IH per person. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. This is just broken, and I'll fix it tonight. I probably won't be able to fix it. I need to look at it without being on this call. And I'm on calls all day today, so I don't know. It probably won't happen until tonight.
No worries. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna wait to try to do any cleaning until it's certain that this is accurate, unless you're certain that the data set that was. So I'm working off of what YGG did last Sunday.
Yeah, and that was all correct. There shouldn't be any. There shouldn't be any, as long as there's no negative IH per person. If he extracted the data last Sunday, then it should be all solid.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm just gonna try to get it. The big thing for me was understanding what some of these numbers were, and I really appreciate your explanation of the process, and then also making sure that I had a standard identifier for each person so that they got all of their stuff together.
Cool. And there's one more thing I want to elucidate that would look really weird in the data. But you'll notice that some of these things, like Juan Bell here has nothing here, but then he has the exact same IH per praise for every praise.
Mhm.
This is because he's a quantifier. So we didn't let the quantifiers don't end up quantifying their own praise. What we do is we give them, for every praise that they don't dish themselves. If they dish praise to themselves, then they get 0 praise for that praise. But dish praise that was dished to them, they get the average amount of praise. And but not including the like negative praise, right? So like the praise that we voted, that they voted to dish out was 1200. The actual impact hours they voted to dish out was 1200, but the actual impact hours that got dished out was 672.
Okay.
Right? But they, for their praise, there were 886 praises, not including their own, because we just use this. We use this average column, and if it's over 1, then there was praise that was quantified there. We divide that by this, we get this number, and then that's the number that we use for every quantifier's praise ends up being that number.
So that's like a flat fee for reading through the praises, essentially. Is that right?
Yeah. So the qualitative value of each praise that a quantifier has is not quantified, and they just get a flat rate, yeah, for every individual praise.
Okay, and so this from thing,
Yeah.
when it says from quantifiers, that means that this was a decision that was made in the meeting. It wasn't like a Discord message or a Telegram message.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's augmenting the data, and usually the description explains what it was. Also, you'll notice that these are all empty.
Okay.
But it should always say quantifiers if we're doing something like that. It should always say quantifiers.
Okay.
And that's only for this. But now for the next round, we're not going to do the adjustments the way we were, where we're just pumping praise. We'll let the first pass stand, and then we'll add another one that's like adjusted because seemed low, adjusted because seemed high. And that way we'll have better data to analyze, and we'll allow the people's initial perceptions to be what they are.
I don't. Are there any questions that you want me to try to look at? Anything you're curious about?
So one thing that's interesting is that, or I think one thing that's really putting a lot of people in a weird place, there's like a coupling between governance rights and value, right? A governance token has a value dimension and it has a voting power dimension. So it would be curious to see like how much people lost, how many impact hours each person lost, and then like the equivalent cost of like buying those impact hours. I mean, we can do that math, but just like how many impact hours were taken away from each person in this part right here.
Oh, like when the 50% reallocation happens, or?
Yeah. and like those, how much even is there that's being taken away, and like who's it being taken away from, and like what impact that would have if it wasn't happening, what the real results would look like, if there wasn't this like negative piece. Then there's like I created this other data set that I can DM you, that's just like kind of sorting the praise subjectively into categories, and trying to figure out like how much is given for people who retweet, how much is given for just going to meetings, or like if there's some kind of, in this qualitative thing, if we can start pulling out certain like there's a lot of things that praise is really good at taking something qualitative and making it quantitative for rewarding, right? But I think it loses a lot of its power when and this is how we're using it, when we use it to qualitatively judge something that can be quantified very easily, right? So like attending a meeting, we could have a Discord bot listen to just be watching how many seconds every handle is in one of these calls, and actively collaborating, actively engaging in the Discord. We could quantify that, but instead we just dish praise to people in meetings, right? We could probably also quantify how much someone is talking in a meeting. And that probably signifies that they're leading the meeting in some ways, right? Because sometimes for meetings, we'll give the person who we think is leading it, or the person who is like giving a lot of feedback, will get more, subjectively, we'll pump their score for that meeting because we know they probably prepared for it and did some work beforehand, and then the people who attend would get less. But some of that stuff can be quantified, or like tweeting, we can easily quantify that. We probably shouldn't be dishing praise for it. Or any of the developer work, that's just happening on GitHub. Obviously some of it, but like we could use source cred for a lot of these things. So like how much praise is going to these repetitive tasks that could probably be quantified in a different way, and how much praise is going to, like joining the praise channel, whatever, like we can quantify that super easy. Having a very reflexive conflict management, well, I don't know, that's not. How about stirring up lots of activity on the forum, or I'm in the wrong one. Working on DAO-to-DAO collaboration models. Jake, for countless hours, put into building this dashboard, because Zepp is seeing him more on the call and misses him for all that he does, for coming to these calls, bringing new people close to the TC, for joining a CAD session, and helping Lauren in a Python issue on his very cool hoodie, right? Like that's a qualitative thing, it's like, this YGG is just doing all this cool stuff, and we would just want to praise him for it. YGG for cutting his beard, like, like, I don't know, sometimes you just want to praise someone for something, and maybe this is a joke, but he got 0.86 impact hours for cutting his beard. Apparently that had a big impact on the TC. Yeah, it'll just be interesting. Maybe like pulling out some of the top praises and some of the, bottom praises. Like what doesn't get praised much and what does. What gets a lot of impact hours, what doesn't. The big thing though is like there's going to be all these outliers, right? Like and cleaning that up on the data side when it's like, you know, why is this person, why is like that one that I showed with Metaverde and Ivy, like why is it 20 times the score? Like I'm pretty sure that she just manually went in there and changed that to up Ivy's score, you know? So that's not clean data. So maybe pulling out some of these outliers.
Yeah, for sure. Just having a column that like indicates, having another column that indicates the score was edited would be helpful for future analysis.
Yeah. I think
Like creating.
we just will not edit the scores and we'll make another row if that's okay.
Okay. Oh, sure. You store it however you want to. I just am thinking about how I'd like to create a data set that someone else could then pick up and analyze, and adjusted a bit, you know, that everybody can use. It doesn't make sense to have all the different teams cleaning the data. If we could sort of agree on how it should be cleaned, then one or two people could focus on cleaning it and everyone else could analyze it from there.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, well, I should roll. I thank you so much for taking on cleaning this data. And if you need anything else, like feel free to DM me and we can do this again. You said you're on East Coast time.
Yes, I am.
So I'm on West Coast time, and your evenings are generally way easier for me than any other time. When Europe's awake, I'm screwed, man. Like I can't. I have back calls. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So if you want to do this again, we could definitely, like, if you are hacking on things and you come to some questions, like I'm very happy to help.
Cool. I'll probably work a little bit, put some more in the notebook, and then I'll probably send you the notebook, and you can, if you're willing to look at it, let me know if it's in the right direction or if it's valuable.
Okay. I'll have a little bit trouble focusing independently. I'll tell you that right now. Just too many projects going on, you know. So
Um,
I wouldn't expect very much from me unless you literally have my attention and you're like babysitting me almost, you know.
Understood. Understood.
I wish it weren't that way, but I don't know if I have ADD or what my deal is these days.
No, I completely understand. Well, thanks so much for your time and the information. I'll
Yeah.
be in touch.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Octopus. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you too. Take care.
See you around, man.